Hey, how's it going, chat? It's been a while since we've done this, and a lot of people have been asking for a while, when are Q&A videos going to come back? And I decided, you know what? Usually I'm out of town or I'm trying to play catch up on Mondays, so let's actually schedule these for every Monday moving forward. So for the foreseeable future, if you guys have questions that you would like me to answer on a week-to-week basis, the best thing you can do is in this video, down in the comments below, ask any questions. It can be Rocket League related, it can be about commentary, it can be about personal life stuff, whatever you guys are feeling, and we'll do our best to answer them. So with that said, let us actually jump into our questions. First question that I saw from the chat that we're going to be taking: what matches at LAN are you most looking forward to or hoping for? Like overall in the RLCS, most times when you get into the high profile matches, as long as there is weight to them, I'm excited for. I really want to see Falcons in particular continue to show improvement or show that they are as good as they say they are. Obviously, they've been absolutely dominant over in their region. We saw a glimpse of that, but we've only seen it once, right? Like, we've only seen one international event so far. I can tease something that there is supposed to be an off-season tournament, most likely before London. Whether that ends up happening or not, we'll have to wait and see on announcements, but hopefully we get a little bit more international competition to be excited about. But I think Falcons against any high-profile teams in either NA and EU is something that I personally really enjoy, and things that I want to see desperately. If Dig breaks up, who do you think they'll retain? If I had to guess, I think they rebuild around Stizzy. Even if the player doesn't perform as great, not saying Stizzy hasn't, but you put more time and effort into a player that you've spent or invested more money financially into. I think him and Violent Panda Yost get along really, really well. So I would assume that you take the youngest, newest, kind of bushy-tailed type player that you see has a lot of potential, and you put as much time and effort into that as possible. So I would guess Stizzy. They don't necessarily have to retain their points, so they don't have to keep 2/3 if they don't want to, but ultimately roster changes are always going to come down to who's available. I saw somebody else in chat asking, yo, if you were to build a team around Justin, what would you do? And it just depends on who's available. I mean, last offseason, we saw literally one team stick together. Out of every team in the RLCS of notability, Vitality was the only team that stuck because, one, they only got together during the spring split, and then they also won everything. They won all 3 qualifiers. They won the major in spring, and then they also won the world championship. So it's like, yeah, what's the point in changing? We thought, Space Station's only been together a split. They looked pretty solid, made it top 8. They put up a good fight, and they also changed. They brought in Chicago instead. So it's really tough to say like who's going to stick or what's going to be available or what's not. But I would expect, because a lot of people have been asking too, like who should make changes. And I did a video on what goes into roster changes and, kind of the thought process. But realistically, like everybody is going to be considering some sort of move after Worlds and Esports World Cup and things wrap up. Would you rebuild around M80 or would you just start from scratch? I personally would really like to work with Jorias. I think Jorias... We've talked about the concept with Jorias of him no longer being in school and that he now has the capability to really dedicate full time. And I think, let's call it what it was. M80 had so much talent, but structurally, foundationally, maybe leadership issues, whatever it was, there's no excuse for that team not to be a top 4 team. So I think there's some problems there, but I think the potential was there. And I was watching Jorias, and Jorias played well. Jorias did some really good things, so I would like the opportunity to work with Jorias. I think it'd be cool. Nas is also very talented, so if those two stick and go back to Europe, I think that's a potential top 4 team in EU. After Deleted dropped their roster, do you think they pick up someone like Gimmick and or rebuild around him, or do you think Gimmick gets different opportunities? I don't know if Gimmick gets any opportunities. No, and nothing against Gimmick, but like, what has Gimmick done lately? I love Gimmick, great kid. But after Cloud9 days, and yeah, he bounced around a little bit, and then he went to V1 for a tiny bit, and then he went to Axel or Oxygen or whatever it was. But when's the last time you saw Gimmick be a forefront of like desirability? And that's no discredit to Gimmick. Gimmick has had an incredible career. But like, why would I go with Gimmick when I could go after these young talented players like an Aris or Frosty or, the Snowman guys or something of that nature? I don't know if Gimmick's going to get opportunities. I think Gimmick got picked up with Aqua and Squishy because Squishy and Gimmick are boys. And that's, again, I'm not trying to disparage Gimmick, but like, why would Deleted, if they're keeping their options open, why would they go for a player that's just going to put them again in the same position where they are either barely making qualifiers or not making them at all? To me, it just doesn't make sense. Dylan asks, what is a car I would love to own? We'll end it with a personal one. So when I brought my car in for servicing, they gave me basically the upgraded version of what I have. So I have a BMW. I love my BMW. It's a 3 Series, all-wheel drive, does the job, gets me A to B, and does it relatively good. But I got the opportunity to basically drive a model above that has like an extra like 300 horsepower, and it's a beast. It's a good daily driver, but I don't know if I need like an M3 comp or anything like that, or an M4 comp, just because that's a little too much. But I do like an M340. I think the B58 engine is incredible, and even if you put like a stage 1 stage 2 tune on it, like an M340i I think would be a good daily, because then you still get some power and you still have a comfortable like good gas mileage variance, and you don't like the issue I have with the new M3s and M4s is the seats that they have this stupid like thing in the middle of your legs, and it's the most uncomfortable garbage in their bucket seats, and I don't know why they do it. But yeah, the new 2025 M340i's just came out, so those are pretty dope. If I'm talking like really expensive stuff, obviously supercars are incredible. I don't even know what I would do with the supercar other than look at it. I do like old school muscle cars. My dad growing up had a 68 GTO, and that was my dream car for the longest time before he sold it. If I had the money to store it and put it aside, I would have, but yeah, 68 GTO I think is just nostalgic for me. But yeah, an old muscle car like a 68 GTO would be sick. I think there's some dope Porsches out there. I think Cayennes are really good as a daily. I don't know, man. I'm not too big of a car head. I do enjoy cars, and I think they're fun to drive, but realistically, something that's, you know, not going to break the bank or anything, I'm pretty happy with. But again, if you guys have additional questions, comments, concerns, as always, feel free to drop those in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer. We're going to be doing these probably every Monday. I am going to take priority on people who are members and subs and all that kind of stuff, just to give back to them for supporting me financially. But if you guys have a really good question that stands out, don't be surprised if I answer that too. So with that said, if you guys enjoy the content, like, subscribe, notifications, hit that stuff all down below. Links to everything in the description down below as well. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.